Hello, my name is Dick Noel, and I would like to talk about why I sincerely believe in the existence of a peaceful, joyful afterlife. I am not a religious expert of any kind, but I have spent the last few years studying and researching everything I could get my hands on about the existence of an afterlife. Again, my educational background is not at all religious, but has been mostly business-oriented with a BA from Dartmouth College and an MBA from Dartmouth's Tuck School of Business Administration. I am 87 years old, and my career has included time as CEO of First Vermont Bank and Trust Company, a period of time as an adjunct professor of management at Keene State College, and a period of time as a freelance writer of articles for a few national magazines, such as Men's Health, the Saturday Evening Post, Worth, and United Airlines Hemispheres. My family background: I was married to my beloved wife, Chris, for 55 years, and I have 3 wonderful children and 2 terrific grandsons. One of my 2 daughters, Suzette, suffers severely from ataxia as well as a recent stroke, and my other daughter, Renee, copes with limited education, having been born mentally challenged. But both my daughters are the most courageous women I know and have brought me untold pleasure with their accomplishments in their lives. My only son, Rick, who has a BA and a master's degree, is an exceptional brother who works hard with me, helping take care of his 2 disabled sisters. Rick himself has 2 sons, and both recently graduated from college and both have jobs taking care of the less fortunate. I became seriously interested in researching the subject of the afterlife after my wife Chris passed away 6 years ago. I wanted to know what the future might hold for her, as well as many other relatives and friends who have passed away. I was raised Catholic, and later in life actually served some time at a local rural church as a Eucharistic minister. But like most Christians, as well as most of humanity, I wanted to know more about what might really happen to our spirits after our physical bodies cease to function. So, for the past few years, I have read several books on the afterlife subject, as well as viewed many videos of what are called near-death experiences and shared death experiences. Some of the books I have read include Dr. Raymond Moody's Life After Life and Dr. Moody's Glimpses of Eternity. And then there was Dr. Eben Alexander's Proof of Heaven. And then Dr. Jeffrey Long's Evidence of the Afterlife. And lately, Dr. Bruce Grayson's After. And Professor Kenneth Ring's Lessons from the Light. And then Dr. Jeff O'Driscoll's Not Yet, and finally Dr. Mary Neal's To Heaven and Back. These are just a few of the many books written by medical professionals who have either experienced themselves a near-death experience or a shared death experience, or who have studied the patterns of these experiences. Reading the many books about near-death experiences and shared death experiences built up a strong faith in my belief in an afterlife, especially when several of the books, as I said, were written by medical doctors who themselves had such experiences and who had studied and found no terrific scientific explanation of any kind. I have also viewed on YouTube over 200 videos of non-medical near-death experiencers and shared death experiencers from all over the world and from all cultures and of all ages. Although not all the videos are the same, most describe colors of beautiful landscapes not seen on this earth, and previously unheard of wondrous music, and feelings of total peace and unconditional love. And of course, all these experiences were sent back with a mission to pass on to others what they saw and what awaits us if we only use our free will to embrace a belief in a loving, forgiving God. My research in the afterlife has led me to make several videos about this subject and about my many reasons for a strong belief in a peaceful, joyful afterlife. I have in recent years been inspired to upload the following afterlife videos which stress the importance of free will, the golden rule, forgiveness, the making of amends, and finally the importance of unconditional love for God and for one another. Some of my uploaded videos include Afterlife Reality, then there's God and the Afterlife, and then Afterlife and Faith, Noel Testimony, and then there's Reasons to Believe in an Afterlife, and then the video Faith and the Afterlife, and then there was a video Afterlife Evidence about a presentation I made at Dartmouth, and finally, The Meaning of Life, Dick Noel's Thoughts. Most of these videos, with the exception of Afterlife Reality, are less than 15 minutes long. You might want to check out one or two. In recent months, I watched the news about plane crashes, the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, the grammar school shootings, and horrific floods in Texas. And I see deceased innocent children pulled from war rubble or found in flood ruins or behind desks in grammar school classrooms. Watching these horrific scenes only strengthened my faith in the existence of an afterlife. I have to believe that a loving God has brought the spirits of those innocent, loving children directly into his heavenly kingdom. Life makes no sense whatever without such a trust in a living, forgiving God. Now, we all live in a world of constant challenges. The most discouraging are the seemingly endless wars which never seem to make sense, with so many young lives lost. You would think we would have learned our lesson from World War II when so many Americans and Japanese died fighting each other, only decades later to become allies like we are now. And the same is true with the USA and Germany, one period killing each other on the battlefield and later, like now, becoming friendly allies. God has to be somewhat disappointed with so many individuals of his created humanity, all of whom were given the divine gift of free will, can't seem to find a way to really consistently love and care for each other. As I have proposed in one of my videos, I believe life on planet Earth is a test for all of us to see how we choose to use the divine gift of free will during our time on God's earthly planet, regardless of how long we are physically here. God or Jesus watches our loving and unloving actions during our lifetimes on earth, no matter how long that period of lifetime may turn out. He knows and I think expects us not to be perfect with all our free will decisions, but he also hopes we will ask for forgiveness when we realize we have made serious mistakes. And I believe his forgiveness is there when we ask for it sincerely. There is no doubt in my mind at all that those who lose their lives so prematurely, like the innocent school shooting victims, or the young boys and girls drowned in the recent Texas floods, or the young children pulled from the ruins in Gaza and Ukraine, all are brought by God directly into his heavenly kingdom. How will these young children evolve and grow? That is one of the many questions we are not told the answer to. But we have to have faith that they will evolve into angelic heavenly beings, serving God in a chosen divine manner he sees fit. For those of us who live out our lives more completely into our 70s or 80s, or perhaps just our 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, we have much more to think about and work on to hopefully earn our way to the heavenly afterlife atmosphere. Unlike the innocent children with their pure, innocent hearts, we adults with our free will face the serious life challenges, the main one being showing an unconditional love for our fellow human beings. It is not always an easy task, especially when we see world leaders make decisions that lead to the death of so many innocent children. And there are so many other negative forces and energies and temptations that sometimes get a hold of us and lead us to make poor and hurtful decisions. Becoming adults in this challenging and congruous world is so often a difficult effort, and so often requires the divine gift of faith in God's love and forgiveness to get us through it all. In my research of the afterlife subject, one of the most important concepts that often came up was something called the life review, where some near-death experiencers get to see all the key events of their lives and how their actions affected other individuals. The life review is so important and is something we all should do and not wait for a possible near-death experience. We, especially our older folks, do it now and see where we have gone wrong with God's gift of free will, and then make our best efforts of correcting our mistakes while we are still alive on this earth. Hopefully, God will recognize sincere efforts and at the end of life grant us forgiveness and a path to his heavenly kingdom. So, my friendly viewers, thank you for taking the time to watch my effort to summarize my research on the afterlife and my reasons for believing it is definitely real. My hope is that many more of humanity will join in that belief so that much of the pain and suffering in our world can be eliminated or at least lessened. We must all just keep trying to do our best. So thank you again for taking the time to watch my video and share my thoughts and research on the afterlife.